minutes long, then it's going to increase this, isn't it?
Because then is it epilogue? Because then each time you get up and you perform that thing, and it's a living thing. It's never finished, is it?
But I suppose you can only argue that by saying that it is what it is for just that moment.
Which is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
And
Every time
exactly,
you get
yeah.
up and do that thing, surely it has its own life.
But at this stage of its life, this ticks boxes in criteria like we have to do in every single course that we're on here.
Yeah.
So it's done then, but in the same sense that his knowledge is carrying on, and so our thoughts while we're reflecting on the choreography is carrying on. It's just taken to a different place, and it's there. It's a brilliant thing.
It's interesting. I know what you're saying, really, because there is that temptation to want to make a finished object, isn't there? It's irresistible. Well, it's very difficult, particularly when you're under academic pressure to produce an object of knowledge in the way that we think about, in the way that we think we understand knowledge, if you know what I mean. You know, if we keep conceiving of knowledge as a series of objects in space and we've got clearly defined boundaries around them and are permanent for all time, then we're constantly leaning into those feelings. But I think if we kind of reconceive what we're doing when we're adding to the body of knowledge, is something much more permeable and much more variable than that. And yes, it might have elements of it might be located like that, but other parts of it might be kind of seated into other kinds of areas and have different kinds of instantiations. Do you know what I mean? That kind of makes sense. That's how I'm thinking of it. I mean, how you do that in practice, I think is different. I mean, there might be absolutely a time when you need to get this thesis together, and it has to have these 2,000, whatever, it's 10,000 words, 10,000 words, coherent argument. But there might be, other reasons other things to do with that material as well as that, which soften the edge a little bit, make it appear in different places.
Especially in what we're doing now. I mean, sometimes it's not about what's been written, what have I read, what's going on now in people's heads. What can I catch up on? And it's happening now. Like this was a couple of days ago. It wasn't written in the book. It's just a couple of days ago. It's a contributing piece of knowledge, and it stands just within its own right. In just as equal stands as something that's written in the book.
Possibly.
I am actually completely flabbergasted.
Is that a good thing or a bad
thing? It's a good thing. I mean, especially because I talk to myself all the time, and then think I've got to write it down.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'd almost forgotten to talk about, to hark back to what I was talking about before, which was about these stages of creative process. That's kind of what you're talking about. But see, where I want to get to with this overall is this idea that if we focus on creative processes on the end point, which is the eureka moment, and the careful editing of material, even though that has its satisfactions and its charms, we do like it when the joke comes together and the choreography repeats something that's in the middle of the musical themes over this and the narrative strands over it. Those things are very satisfying. But I think if we overstress those for ourselves as artists, I'm not sure we're putting emphasis necessarily in the right place. Because those are all the moves that you would make in knowledge terms, not necessarily in compositional terms. But in knowledge terms, those are all the moves that you make when you want to create a fact, or when you want to create a kind of hard, permanent object. I mean, if you're trying to do some kind of scientific experiment to do with the boiling point of mercury or something like that, you would have a particular set of processes which would all converge on a series of experiments which absolutely tested that. And all the extraneous stuff is stripped away. So you edit out all of the variables that you didn't want anything to do with, and you make sure your conditions are absolutely right, you get right and all that. And they would converge on this fact, and then you find the fact out. So all those moves that we're replicating, I think, in creative work, have a tendency to try to do the same thing. I'm not sure it's always the right focus. I mean, there might be good compositional reasons why you might need to stop the show at a certain point, you know what I mean, or right at the end of the novel. There's good reasons for that. But in terms of creative, the kind of knowledge that exists in creative circles, the kind of circles that we're moving in, we're not creating facts, are we? We're not creating things that people pick up and use in other contexts in that way. Where I think it's more productive often to be concerned with exactly the stuff we were doing this morning, which is the generative stuff and the stuff you're talking about. You get an idea and you write it down. or you make a short video of these things, you know, that's going on that James encouraged you to do, or there's kind of sketches and doodles that you'd be able to make. I think that's really, really fantastically valuable, and it's much more productive, I think, to get involved in that, because it is a kind of knowledge, that stuff. I mean, all the stuff that you generate, the kind of knowledge, it's just not processed much, or it's just not kind of not doing those convergent things, which is what objective knowledge James is trying to do. I mean. Shall I show you one more thing? I'll show you two more things, actually, very quickly. Just because I think it would be a bookend to some of the things you're talking about. One of the specific questions which I'm interpreting from the last few comments was to do with, you know, how do you know it's finished? How do you know when it's finished? How do you work towards the finish point if you work in this open-ended way? And does it make any sense to have that kind of finish state? Is it very much falling into producing a work rather than text? Those kind of things. Yes, and yes. But I thought I'd try to do it anyway. This is one of my latest projects. I thought I'd write a book based on a PhD, because that's kind of the things I'm interested to do. But I thought, rather than sit down in a little private space and write a study and tap away for 6 months, taking out all the boring stuff and the boring, putting the interesting stuff in, I thought I'd do it live. So I'm writing the book live on YouTube, which is sort of interesting. I've got this new channel called Poetics of Thought, which is terribly pretentious title. I kind of regret it the minute I go through it. But I've written, I can't remember which one I've written so far. A whole bunch of videos really on this stuff. And I've kind of thought through it in advance, but it's really vague. Now I'm kind of imagining this vague landscape that I'm kind of going to walk through, you know, over the course of the next year or so, or something like that. To do with these things I've already spoken about, to do with metaphors of space, and to do with objects, to do with thinking. I'm trying to start a bit further back, so I'm talking about evolution at a certain point, the evolution of minds and brain, and perception. So I've kind of got this vague vision. It's absolutely not a fixed idea. I'm just marching my way through it slowly. And that's kind of my latest project. So it's a halfway house. It's not completely open-ended, because I do have a sense of where this wants to go, and there's kind of terrain I want to marshal, put together. But I'm not absolutely sure where it's going to go. I'm really not. And there's an odd kind of pressure. You know, I thought my PhD was pressure to submit it to a supervisor. But this is kind of live. You know, I'm getting comments, and I'm getting 5 emails from people. I've got this really nice Hungarian chap who emails me vast responses to everything I said, and I feel like I have to answer them. Which is, you know, it's nice that he's doing that. It's great. In addition to doing them live, I transcribe them when I finish. So I'll make them up on the spot that I'm thinking about, and then transcribe them and then put the right one here. So this is where we started from, is me going for walks. So I have this book is prefaced with a bit of writing about me taking my dogs for a walk. And then it goes on and on and on. I'm just going to see if I can find one that's got this comment, but it's a really nice guy called Mark. Yeah.
When you're writing your book on YouTube,
it's so pretentious.
what do you how much kind of mental preparation do you give yourself? Is it just a case of sort of sitting down and thinking, okay, what do I want to talk about, or maybe after you've done the previous chapter, do you sort of reflect on that and think about where you might want to take it next, or what's the sort of structure of what's the structure? Is it completely like instinctive?
No. Well, kind of, yeah, but it's an informed instinct. So most of it's coming out of all the stuff I wrote about and all those hundreds of thousands of words on the blog. So it's not just random. And obviously I've done a lot of reading and thinking and writing. And the general territory I know about, but I'm trying to construct particular ways through that, in a sense. And I sort of know the general areas I need to talk about. I need to talk about background stuff. I need to talk about this idea of knowledge, which is one major part of it. And then there's a really unknown bit, the angle I want to talk about.